welcome back to the show. And we have two amazing personalities. We have Pascal Atuma, who is a Nigerian-Canadian filmmaker, actor, and director known for socially conscious storytelling, and his latest film, Imported Wives, confronts the rising marital crisis that Africans face in the diaspora. I also have Joy Madubuike, who is also the executive producer of Imported Wives. She's a passionate about impactful storytelling, and of course brings together this very beautiful story, Imported Wives, with strong social commentary. Pleasure to have you on Silverbird today.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much for having us.
But we're not just also talking about Imported Wives. We're also going to be looking about the Nollywood pattern, because I'm sure you must have, you know about the circle of repetitive stories. We seem to have, a lot of that happening. So we want to really go into that, along with talking about the beautiful film that you have done, which of course is a wonder. So let's even talk about from cinema to Nollywood streaming. Nollywood is expanding, and of course we know the challenges that we face in the industry. So let's talk about are filmmakers pressure to produce what they think will sell? Because if you look at it, everybody wants to make money from the industry. So do you think there's a pressure to produce, what will sell instead of what matters?
It depends on the level of filmmaking. As a producer, the new producers, yes. The old producers, established producers, no. Someone like me, I only produce what I want to produce. I only tell a story that I want to tell. Do you understand? If people send me a lot of scripts, if it's not the type of story I want to tell that will have impact, if there's no societal messages involved, there's no impact and values, norms and values, you need to let me know, because I know I'm going to end up facing you guys. So I need to be able to defend the film I'm about to produce in front of you guys. So I don't, at this level, like an Omoni Oboli or a Funke or what do you call it? There's many other producers out there. You can't tell them to produce what they don't want to produce. But for the new producers who want to get their first cinema film, they want to get their first Netflix deal, they want to get their first Amazon deal, then somebody can pressure them into...
Oh, you've gone past that level.
No, not in Jesus' name.
Okay, let me ask Joy, what do you think about the sameness in Nollywood stories?
Again, just touching on what you just said, the word pressured is basically the fact that producers are out there to produce movies. They want to make money, so obviously they want to produce what is going to sell. And I think that just draws the line as to the reason why they are producing whatever is selling, and they just stick to it.
Okay, so how can storytellers and producers balance the need for mass appeal and authentic storytelling? Like you already talked about, someone trying to get a first deal, streaming, so they want to produce things that everybody can love. So how do you balance storytelling and mass appeal? You want to appeal to mass audience.
We need to go back to the old formula. If you look at those days, we have TV shows like Zebrodaya. The Zebrodaya, you have Checkmate. Those shows were created to deliver certain messages to the society. Now, once you create a storyline that people can relate with, people can see themselves in it, and it's solving like a solution. It's solving a problem in society, and like a social commentary, or something of entertaining comedy, but comedy with message. It's going to sell. The issue is that that's what leads to the repetition. Or someone is telling you to produce something, this is what he's selling now, this is what he's selling now, this is what he's selling now. So you don't think outside the box again. Everybody will be thinking there. And another thing, major thing is training. If you're trained, if you're professionally trained, at any story you pick, you should be able to find a way to make it commercial and at the same time make it entertaining.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You should be able to find that balance. Because if you look at the old films, there's films like Eddie Murphy Coming to America, was done many years ago. Up to today, it's still selling.
It's true.
Do you understand? So it's one, training, two, professionalism, three, not producing from stomach infrastructure.
Let's go start stomach infrastructure. Well, what kind of, let me ask you, what kind of stories do you think we're not telling enough? Let me, what stories?
I mean, authentic stories like Imported Wives, for example, where we're talking about reality as opposed to things that are not realistic. Someone waking up the next day and being rich. There's nothing such as that.
All right, so let's go to Imported Wives. Okay. Now, it explores cultural conflict and migration, which is a big issue now. What led you there?
Okay, you see, if you remember many years ago, we did a movie called My American Nurse. So we did American Nurse, and the distribution company then, Sanga Entertainment New York, they funded us to do American Nurse too. So this was maybe 20 years ago, 20 some years ago. So online, a lot of our fans, they're harassing us like, oh, we need something like American Nurse. I mean, what is the problem? Are you guys no longer making movies? People are dying. My friend just got killed in US. Then someone in Canada, my husband just took my 2 children and ran away. And then you look at London, the London police is saying they are tired of taking phone calls from Nigerian women calling for their husbands to be taken to prison. I don't know, you saw that storyline. So that was, I say, okay, now it's time to combine American Nurse 1, American Nurse 2, then take what is happening now and use it as a mirror and do a movie that both people are home and those ones are abroad, both the ones coming to marry and the ones that have been married, including the parents, that they will look at the mirror and see, this is the reality. All that glitters is not good. Japa, 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 japa. If you're useless in Nigeria, you're going to be useless in London.
Okay. Okay.
Am I making sense?
I agree with you, but let me ask Joy, this Japa movement, what are your thoughts on how it's changing, the traditional African family structure?
So first of all, I want to just make it very clear that Imported Wife is not about just a Nollywood African movie. No. It's a global, international movie that the Indians can relate to, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Italians. It's a very generalized situation. It's a pandemic that is happening all over the world. So that's a correction, and that's something that we need to make sure that we are very clear on. Now, coming to precisely the African or Nigerian and the Nollywood industry, Japa, of course, the economical situation is the driving force as to why everybody needs to leave. And as much as I do not agree with that, just being around in the last couple of days in the country, I can honestly feel the pain of what people are going through. However, it still does not establish the real truth as to why people should just go out there and marry for the wrong reasons.
Okay, well, let's talk about this Imported Wives. When is it coming out? When should we expect it?
Imported Wives will be in cinemas nationwide May 30th.
Okay.
And then we are working with the Nile Entertainment Group. So they have guaranteed us that I will take it to 39 countries in the world. So from Nigeria, we're going to move to other African countries. Then we're going to move to UK, Canada, US, Australia. And then after that, we'll go to the streamlines.
Nigerian filmmakers are doing enough to tell stories, diaspora stories, from a balanced perspective? Because I am saying that sometimes the stories we see are stories of infidelity, stories of DNA. That's abroad stories. The reason I'm asking is because when I see these things, or people see these things, it almost feeds your perception of, don't you want to jackpot? Because if I jackpot, likely this is what I'm going to get, So do you think some of these stories feed that negative perception? It's almost like an African perception of what is happening in abroad, UK, Canada, and other countries.
That's why it's good for people like us to tell the story. You see, this year will make me 30 years in the US and Canada. So I've seen it all. She's been there for more than 20 years.
25 years.
25 years. So she's seen it all. So you see, you cannot just wake up and go tell a story that you don't know and you have not lived in. So that is why when we tell the story, it's different. And I guarantee you, Imported Wives is going to do what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
Do you understand? So to answer the other question you talked about, are the movie makers doing enough?
Yes.
You cannot do enough when you're hungry. So the government needs to step in and figure out it. Yes.
You cannot do enough.
Yes, I'm being very honest. Yes. The government needs to step in and do what other countries are doing. I give you an example. In Canada, we have Telefilm Canada. We have Canada Media Funds. In the US, they have a lot of funding, government funding sources that will help you. So when you want to tell a story, you're not telling a story based on what you can afford to create.
Okay.
You're just creating knowing that there's a place to get the funding. So that is the major issue. Your children cannot be hungry and you're there telling them that you're writing a good story.
But so far so good. I think that we still have good stories that are from Nigeria to the world, because everybody's not talking of Nigeria to the world, you know, and all of that. But I mean, well done on the
for what they have available, they have done their best. But what I'm saying is that government can step in and help. And another thing too, people think oil. The film industry is another oil industry that's not untapped.
So my question I want to ask Joy is the film industry abroad in diaspora, or is it the film industry in Nigeria? There's a difference, or is it one Nollywood? Because the storytelling I tell you is quite different from the experience of Nigerians in Nigeria and the ones abroad.
Yes, what we're doing is we tell stories for the global market. The world has become a global village. So if you tell me Pascal Atuma to come and produce a film from the Nigerian market alone, you understand, I'm not going to do it. You know why? Nigerian market is too small of a market for me to sit down for a year or a year and 8 months to make a movie. So we must, the world is looking for our stories. The world loves Nigeria. No matter, forget about the negative that you see. We are very deep in culture. So that's a lot we have not touched. Let's not go the political angle. Because if we start making movies about the political side, what is that? A very dark man might start happening in the movie industry everywhere. You understand? But there's deep stories out there for us to tell. But let us, for the young filmmakers out there, don't target Nigeria as your only market. So once you're creating a movie, make sure you're creating for the global market, especially with the Nile Entertainment Group now. They have assets. You saw what they did with Funke Akinele's movie, go in many countries. You saw what they did with Omoni's movie. So let's think global.
I like how you said, don't think from hungry, but when Nigerians are hungry and you know that the market, let me just start from the small I can start and then go global. It's a lot, but it's nice to have you, you know, again, to really take up this conversation. But thank you so much for coming on the show. And of course, congratulations also to your new movie, that Imported Wives. So when it comes, I really people can go and see
please let the viewers know to go out there on May 30th. It's going to be in cinemas nationwide. Enjoy it. If you don't like it, come back. But if you like it, buy me a drink when you see
All
me.
right. Thank you so much for coming through on this show. Thank you so much. All right. So our word of the day is from Sophia Vergara. She says, confident people have a way of carrying themselves that makes others attracted to them. So please get your confidence today. Walk with your head high. And remember, we're celebrating our very own Miss Joy Raimi in India. Your support is highly appreciated. Of course, she's done so fantastically well in India representing us, even though we know we didn't make it to the next year, but she's still a winner regardless. So thank you to our amazing guests for coming through on the show. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Please make sure you enjoy yourselves. We'll see you again tomorrow for our throwback episode of Silverbird today. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.